the tape.
Roll the tape. Lisa, this isn't that kind of show. Everyone, we have a special edition of the podcast this evening.
We surely do, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time for my nasally ass voice. I am coming off a week of not being able to breathe and illness from children.
She brought her own tissues to my home.
I surely did.
You know what? That's really considerate because I don't have that much toilet paper left.
Well, like my nose and my underside of my nose is so raw from using shitty Kleenex and toilet paper at work.
Have you been putting Vaseline on?
I do. I have a pocket Vaseline actually, and I actively will just touch it up there.
I have
That sounded really bad.
I have a tube of petroleum jelly that the doctor gave me. It doesn't say Vaseline, but it does say petroleum jelly. And it just makes me kind of uncomfortable.
That is really funny. I'm going to hook this here for a moment, folks, and I'm going to take a shot of Fireball here.
Yeah.
In honor of the Badgers losing.
Yeah. Bam, 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 bam.
R.I.P. I know we talked about it in the last episode.
Well, it's going to be funny because I'm going to upload that. The last episode we recorded tonight after we record this.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about how the Badgers
blew it in the tournament. Now here we are, having lost again in the next tournament of March Madness.
Anyways, out first round.
Yes. I'll get into it because we're going to talk about our brackets. We got a lot of stuff. Not a lot of stuff coming, but it is just updates.
It is going to be
around the basketball world.
From the b-ball world. Our girls reached an agreement. We will be officially having a WNBA season. So I'm going to take
You're going to give it a little tink tink?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought meant with your wine there, friend. A little clink.
Trying to tap the microphone.
To my Fireball. Clink.
Hearing you take that kind of made me want to vomit.
Reminds me of Vanderpump. Oh my god, that burns.
Dude, he was just waterfall. So we've decided we were celebrating the new CBA agreement by having a little buzzed pod. So you're all welcome.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I can feel the spices upon my tongue. What a run that was.
Thank you. I was just watching Dune, speaking of spices.
That got me.
Goddamn. I'm gonna take a real hit. A real hit?
A real hit.
I'm gonna take a quick hit real fast. That's what I was trying to say.
For sure. You're breaking dishes.
Up in there all night. Anyways, welcome to the We Know Ball podcast. My name is Andie.
My name is Faith.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't get a fun nickname.
Well,
I'm not an author.
Shall we begin?
Absolutely.
Should we do the agreement first, or should we do our brackets? I feel like we should do the agreement first.
I feel like we should roll with the agreement.
Yeah.
So I know this is kind of us. All right. So starting us off tonight, we are going to be talking about the agreement that was reached for the WNBA. There it is. So at March 18th, at some time in the early morning, there was an agreement come to.
It was like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. There was an agreement that was come to by the representatives of the WNBA as well as the commissioner and the other people on the other side of things. So as we talk about this within the episode and we reference the CBA, there are going to be a lot of acronyms. So
a lot
the
of letters.
CBA does stand for a collective bargaining agreement. And so all of the leagues have different CBAs. It's not specific to the WNBA. So when we talk about a CBA, this is their personal collective bargaining agreement. It's essentially their contract that they signed. So to start, this agreement does span for 7 years. They have the option to opt out of it after the 6th year. So right now, this agreement will run through the 2032 season, but after the 2031 season, they can choose to go into renegotiations, essentially what they did this year, because this was the last year of their current CBA. So they went through and they came up to a different agreement. There were some pretty big milestones that they were able to come to terms with. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of no's at the start from any numbers that were given, or a lot of, I don't know, cuts in the percentages, cuts in the numbers that were given from the other side.
I mean, I feel like it was just like basic negotiations. Like the players were shot too high at the beginning, the league was shooting too low. They had to come somewhere
They
in
had
the
to have a
middle.
consensus where they
Yes.
agreed to what they were going to they would be willing
Oh!
to play
Oh, he
for.
broke his tooth.
Yeah, it's hockey up in here in
Or
March Madness.
nor.
Sorry, our so just to preface, our background noise is March Madness, and we'll hit up March Madness afterwards. We do have our bracket winners for the women's and men's March Madness tournaments that we want to toss out there too. But within the CBA, the new team salaries or the caps, the salary caps that all teams will be working with is $7 million. For reference, previously in the years past, it was sitting at about 1.5 million per team. So if we're looking at
It's
the
an
numbers
insane
overall,
increase.
correct. We are looking at a 366% increase for the salary cap. Now, when we're looking at the NBA, and again, the NBA is going to have much higher numbers. I know first episode we kind of talked, there wanted to be the equality of them getting the percentages of what they're earning. So the NBA right now is pulling in more money. They have been pulling in more money, so they do have access to more funding.
But not a single WNBA player is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make the same amount as LeBron James." No one is asking for that, no one is saying that,
Correct. They
and
want similar percentages. So
yes.
throughout this, I am going to reference the different amounts of money between the NBA and the WNBA, understanding within this that we're not saying that what the WNBA and what they have come to agreements with is wrong or that they're lacking. It is just we're looking at the comparison. So last year, the NBA cap for their salary was $154 million per team. So, projected for this next season, the 2026 season, they're looking at about $166 million as a salary cap. Within each year, their salary cap has raised about 10%. So, again, the WNBA went up 366%, but they were also sitting at 1.5 million, which was hardly giving any money out to anybody. So,
Pennies, pennies on the dollar.
correct. So as we look at the next part of it, and we talk about the revenue sharing, so the WNBA now made enough money where players can access the money within the revenue sharing, and this includes anything which is the basketball related income, and this can be TV deals, ticket sales, and different
Merch.
sponsorships, merchandise, anything that is sold in relation to the teams. That is the revenue that is coming in, that is not automatically given by the W to them for their salary. And so their revenue sharing will be about 20%. Previously, it was around 9%, a little bit less. This is an increase of about 115%. Now, if we look at the NBA's, theirs sits at around 50%. The NBA is known for their highest level of revenue sharing within sports levels. The NFL, if we compare it to that, is at about 48%. And more recently, the NHL, the hockey league, got to hit the 50% mark as well, but that was following in stride with the NBA. The NBA has been sitting at 50% revenue sharing for many, many, many years.
Since the 80s. I'm gonna touch on that later.
Yes. So with that, they are getting more money. As they bring in more money, they should be accessing more of what they are bringing in. Without these players, people would not be coming to the games. They would
Mhm.
not be continuing to make this much money. And the next piece that we would be looking at then is their supermax contracts. So supermax contracts are essentially for the veterans on the team. If you are playing in the W, you can access supermax contracts after their fourth year. The NBA, it's different. You have to have around 7 to 9 years in the league. For the WNBA, their supermax contracts will now start at around $1.4 million. This is an increase of about 462%, as it previously was $250,000. Now, if we think about that and we look at the actual supermax contract of the team at $1.4 million, that is essentially the entire salary that would be allowed for an entire team
Team.
the last couple of years. So again, big work being done, the negotiations that are happening, awesome, and they are fully deserving of this money. Now, if we look at the NBA side of things, if you are in your seventh to ninth years, you can get $300 million for a supermax contract that is stretched over about
Easy and
5 years.
expected.
Correct. So when you have like Luca, you have LeBron, you have Steph, you have Giannis, you have these big names out here, they're able to hit these $300 million contracts. Again, what we're looking at for the WNBA, 1.4 million. The next thing kind of looking at here is the minimum salary. And when we talk about the minimum salary, we did discuss this in the first episode,
Mhm.
where people were making not a lot of money.
Making 56, I think I saw like the lowest number of a starter was like 60K. And all of the teams are in major metropolitan city urban areas. $60,000 in those areas do not go far. I make like 42,000 in little rural Wisconsin and I barely scrape by. And these are supposed to be professional athletes.
Correct. And so the minimum salary is now going to be over $300,000.
That's insane.
That's an increase of 354%. If we're looking at the previous numbers, the minimum was around $66,000 for players that were coming in as a rookie, or it would be rookie between 2 years. So, rookie 1, 2 years in, you'd be making around $66,000.
I'm not super familiar with the NBA. What do they consider a rookie in the NBA? Because I feel like when we're talking, like they say, kind of like 0 to 2.
So a rookie would be coming in and it would be their first contract. So within the NBA, there is the G League, and that is the only comparison I could think of within that is the MLB. You have AAA, which is the
Mhm.
step below the majors, and then you also
Yes.
have like AA. And so those levels, those are kind of like you're trying to work your way up to the big leagues. As a rookie, that is when you're first drafted. That is your first year of playing. That is your rookie contract playing on a starting team. So that is the same for the NBA. When we're looking at the NBA minimum of last year, they had $1.2 million for 0 years of experience. And then the minimum for a vet, which would be 10 plus years, it was around $3.6 million. So a very big contrast again. And this is why I did preface at the start, the NBA has continually brought in more money. They have been around longer. They have had access to expanding their league and all of that. They have more teams than what the WNBA have. They have more sponsorships. They have more TV deals. They have more I don't know, public appearance, that thing
Yeah.
that you can access them much easier on different channels. They are more widely distributed essentially. But when we're looking at the minimum salary, the new minimum salary is going to be around at 300,000, which is more than the previous supermax contract. And so all of this, it really is just showing the growth of the WNBA as a whole, because now these people coming in are going to be able to make a livable income plus more for the work that they are doing.
Mhm.
When we are looking at our previous Supermax contracts, it was Kelsey Mitchell and Jackie Young who were the two highest paid players in the W in 2025, and their contracts were worth $249,000 and $252,000, both of which are less than the minimum that they will now be getting paid.
Yes.
So that again is a huge piece. And again, the biggest kudos to the people who stood strong in these negotiations and were fighting for what they deserved.
Something I would also like to point out just before I forget
Yes,
is I think it would be amiss to not mention that the people leading this charge are women of color. And I think that that is why there has been such a dismissal of the demands. There has been such pushback in the media because, America, like, I mean, Beyonce put it in Lemonade, she put it in her interludes, right? No one in America is more disrespected than the black woman. And you like, I mean, that was 90% of the people that were leading this CBA charge. And so I just want to shout out them because it's hard. I'm sure that they were receiving comments not about just being women, not about being women who are outspoken, but also about their race. And they've stood on business. And that is really, I can't imagine. I will literally never know. So,
correct.
would just like
And
to
me
mention
neither.
that.
And the only other thing I was gonna mention within here, so we talked about, or I talked about the minimums for NBA, and that was the 1.2 for a rookie contract, around 3.6 minimum for somebody who's been in the league for 10 or more years. The highest paid contract and the highest paid NBA player of this year in the 2026 season was Steph Curry, and he's making $59.6 million before sponsorships.
Yes.
And so Steph Curry, within all of this, he has his sponsorships. He was with Under Armour. He has now since left Under Armour and he is creating his own brand.
But it's going to be successful. He's Steph Curry.
Correct. So just looking again at the numbers and we're seeing the differences. It is a really big difference
Yes.
between our differences here.
Yes.
Overall, looking at the numbers, the average salary now within the WNBA will be around $600,000.
Yes, queens.
This is an increase of over 400%.
Yes.
Previously, we were looking at around $102,000 to $120,000 as the average salary. And now comparing it to the NBA, the average was 11.9 million to 12.3 million dollars. Again, different amounts of money coming in, different negotiations, different things and
Receiving
access that they have.
different percentages, which is the whole fucking point.
Correct. But it's making so what these people are still receiving is similar percentages. Again, nobody in the W is asking to be paid the same amount of money as the NBA. They are asking for similar percentages for what they are bringing in and what they are worth.
And
Ag-
I would like to point out that they are still half of the comparable percentages.
Yes.
So,
And we also have to look at this again. Without the players who are playing in the W, there would be no league. Yes, you could get rid of every single player that is playing, but then you are going to have mediocre basketball at best. The
mhm.
women that are playing in this league are the top of the top tier that are coming together, and they will put on a show and fight
Yes.
every single night for their playing spot. And that is what is so amazing. I think back to last year in the playoffs, Kelsey Mitchell on the Indiana Fever,
Mhm.
when she literally thought that first, like she was paralyzed. She was so tired. She was so fatigued. Her body literally stopped moving and stopped working because she was so exhausted. She was carrying that team.
Yes.
And so I think about the work that they are putting in, everything that they are doing. They are so, so deserving. And I don't want to watch anybody else out there playing. Give them their dues, give them their money. This will last for, I would say, probably the next 6 years. And I think they will go back to negotiations within the next 6 years as the
Mhm.
W continues to grow. We're watching these women come out of the college level and continue to feed into what is happening in the W. They're going to be trying to expand and continue to expand. We have free agency coming up. We
Mhm.
have the draft coming up for the W.
There's
It's going
3
to be
new
a
teams
very
coming.
exciting time.
Like,
I'm very excited for
yeah.
it. With that, I'm going to pass it off over to Andie for her thoughts on the CBA as I have spoken here for a great while.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was good to like explain to people like what it is because I feel kind of what I was alluding to before. There's been a lot of like misconceptions and a lot of things misconstrued
Absolutely.
because anytime women are advocating for themselves, people think that we're simply whining and being selfish, which no. Continue advocating for yourself. It's not being whiny or selfish. You're not being a bitch. You're literally just asking people to treat you like a full human being. Like,
You can't see it, but I am clapping my little fingers together.
yes. So a few of the things that I wanted to touch on, I sometimes end up on the wrong side of the internet. And I see a lot of almost like not red pill internet propaganda, but like a little bit. And sometimes I just have to watch because I'm like, oh my God, like, is this really how people exist? So I
It is. People do exist in that world.
So with that, like, especially with this deal, you have never seen the amount of misogynists, the amount of people who just do not want to see women succeed come out of the woodwork quite like this CBA kerfuffle. I have been just seeing a lot of chatter, and one of the main things that people are saying is why? Why now? Why are they asking for this? Why can't they just play and stop whining? Again, whining equals standing up to yourself in men's terms. So, I mean, I guess
And again, I will say
call me a whiny bitch.
the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, all major men's sports have gone into CBA negotiations and there have been lockouts because they have not come to an agreement. So for people that are going to say it is simply because it is women, wrong. They didn't even have a lockout. The season is not being affected. The timeline is still the same. They were
Yeah,
able
they
to
actually
come to an
started these
agreement,
as soon as the previous season ended to hopefully avoid that because they're women and they can think ahead more than 3 days.
but we are just emotional creatures
We
and we
really
don't know
are.
what we're
I'm surprised we're
doing.
even allowed to play sports with how feeble-bodied we are. No, but like there's this whole pushback of why? And it really just comes to those percentages and those equity kind of lenses. I'm a big numbers girly. I love statistics. So I did some research. Fans of the WNBA would have to, on average, spend 700 to 1,000% more on tickets, merch, etc., for players to get what the NBA players are making percentage wise approximately, which is around 50%. And so when you are talking about when you get like actual numbers and statistics like that, like 700 to 1,000% more, this is where the players are getting a little frustrated because they've been busting their asses on and off the court to bring people into the league, to bring attention to it, to get a fan base, to grow the fan base, to keep the fan base. They and then also on top of it, they're literally professional athletes. They are in the gym training 24/7, playing games 24/7, while also being self-promoters for a club that literally does not support them in any way, shape, or form.
And can I say, these women are not out here taking little rest days here and there or multiple games in a row. Can I tell you the cost of tickets and the cost of tickets that people will pay for like those prime time premier games? You get a game of like the Lakers against the Knicks, a Lakers game against anybody else. Those tickets are so expensive, and it is because you have so many all-stars on the team. But who's sitting on the bench?
The
All
all
of the
stars.
all-stars. So you are spending thousands of dollars on a ticket because these people exist on the team, but you don't even get to see them play. And that is where, even in myself, when I think about it, yes, these people in the NBA are playing at the highest level and they are the best of the best, but also the prices are outrageous when you think about it. To get to a floor seat, you are spending thousands of dollars.
But yeah, so that kind of goes into what this next point of to put it in simpler terms, because I feel like as average human beings who live in America and can't process things above a sixth grade reading level,
And that
700.
is not our fan base.
No, no,
I'm
we
gonna
know
I'm
you
gonna
are all.
say it here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it's probably for the men that are still complaining about the women who are
Yes.
actively negotiating and fighting for what they deserve.
Yes. So but like 700 to 1,000% means nothing unless you can actually like put something to it, right? So let's say you want to give $100 as a fan to an NBA player. You want $100 to go into their pocket. You as a fan would have to spend around $200. So they would get 100. If you want $100 to go into a WNBA player's pocket, you as a fan would have to spend over $1,400. And that is where the issue comes in because they are receiving less, in most cases, less than 10%, less than 9% of all revenue, or not even revenue, profits from everything that's going on. Like, I think there's been so much talk. I think we get a little diluted with sports, professional sports, because we're talking millions and millions of dollars. And none of us know what $1 million looks like, right? So we just start talking, oh, $1 million here, oh, they wanted $1 million there. Doesn't mean anything. But when I saw that statistic, I was like, Jesus Christ. And you want to say that they have no reason to be fighting when, again, they're the ones out there busting their ass and they've got, I mean, they've got to what? That's, I don't even know, 14 times as hard to fucking get the same dollar amounts. And on that note, the other part of the why is why now, right? Because they're seeing, like, yes, they're seeing them like more profit, so of course they're asking for more, but a lot of it is like, well, yeah, it triggered your profit sharing. So why are you asking for more? You got your $8 million to split up on your million teams and players. Why are you being so mad about it?
Well, a big piece of it though is you can't negotiate outside of the allotted time.
Mhm.
So once their contract, like we were saying before, once the contract is hitting the point where you hit a negotiation standpoint for the next contract, you are allowed to go and do this. They hit their point where their last agreement was up. So this is a part of the why now. They are allowed to. They have a legal right.
And on that fucking note, talking about the old agreement, I needed to do some research into this because as I was doing research for all of these other numbers, I was like, what's going on? Um,
What's going on?
what's going on? What is this old agreement? This old agreement, shady as fuck. First of all, this old, why now? Because the original agreement was trash. They based the monetary amount for what they would need to make in order to trigger the profit sharing on the numbers of the 2020 season.
Correct. Yeah, no,
So
they literally it was said one of the biggest reasons was because they triggered the amount where they could increase revenue sharing.
the league, the W, essentially set a number based on the COVID numbers that was so unfathomably high and astronomically high, being like, once you hit this number in the next 5 years, yeah, sure, we'll do profit sharing and we'll do it at like 8%, whatever. And I really truly believe they never thought that the league would get where it is today. But of course, our girls, again, busting ass, were like, fucking bet. They got out there, they did their thing. We're seeing, I can't even explain the amount of growth that has happened in the past few years. And it wasn't just 2025, which was the first profitable year, because I will say that there is a difference between revenue and profit, right? And if we get into the nitty gritty things, yes, the WNBA has technically not made a 100% profit off of a season since last year. But the seasons before, they were breaking even. And they've been breaking even for years, which is the huge issue because this old CBA was not reflecting it. So it's like, okay, obviously, when the old one is up, yeah, they're going to do something about it so this doesn't happen again.
Correct.
Like,
And I think
oh,
again we touched on this in the first episode, but the exposure to women's sports as well has come so far, as well as the women themselves doing the self promotion to
mhm.
increase that level of awareness by the public.
Like, it's
Because
not been the W out here doing it. It
no,
is
it
the
is the
players.
women
It
themselves that
is
are
the
carrying
players.
it. It is the players that are going out here and are pushing it so hard, especially even from a college level. And that's where you get such a high level coming from college following, because these college level players are pushing it so much because they deservedly so should be getting this attention.
People want community. And I feel like
The women's
especially
community is amazing.
correct, especially women, right? Like we're creating an environment within women national televised women's sports where women can show up, they can cheer, they can get a little angry, a little rowdy. You're seeing such a positive reaction to it. But the second that they ask to be treated fairly and equitably, like
How dare you?
suddenly there's an issue. What I was going to say before I wrap up this section of my notes is why now? People are going to take advantage of you as long as you let them. And
Correct.
so their contract, the old CBA was up. They had enough. They tried to be nice. They tried to be like, hey, could you guys just give us to this without us having to fight? The W said, no, fuck you. And here we are.
And I would say also within all of this, like, I think one thing to be noted is within a majority of these games that are happening, the teams in the years prior, they did play in smaller arenas, they played in smaller areas. There was such a demand for more tickets, they would have to shift their games to a larger arena to give access to more tickets. And they would continue to sell out these places. And so that's the piece of it too, where people are kind of
Craving
craving,
it.
yes,
Yes.
that ability to be able to watch them succeed and do this, and they want to be able to support them. And it is truly this community that is building around them. It is such a positive community as well.
It's just people who show up, want to play hard, they want to work hard, and they just want to be in a place surrounded by other people with that mentality. To be in a
Correct.
room where everyone is on the same page, just trying to be the best version of themselves.
100%.
My last point that I want to kind of touch on, because again, like I said, I have the pleasurable experience of talking to some conservative individuals in my life, not by choice. The whole argument that the WNBA isn't profitable makes me filled with that's not a sentence. It fills me with so much rage
It's
because
almost laughable.
like on a basic number sense, true, until last year. You've got like the whole reason we're in this mess is because they made enough profit in order to trigger this. So it's like when people are like, they're not profit. I'm like, we're literally in this situation because they're being profitable. Second, they announced the expansion of 3 teams. If you can expand into 3 cities, you can pay your players what they are owed. And on the topic of what you were just talking about the demand, Unrivaled just finished. They did games in like satellite cities essentially for a few different games throughout this season. They were in New York. They sold out Barclays 2 nights in a row. Sold out Barclays. And you want to tell me that there's not demand, that there's no revenue, there's no chance to make revenue when the facts are just proving you wrong.
Can we also talk about how last year's games got so big that the men's NBA games had to get moved to different days to be
Yes.
played because people wanted to show up to the women's games?
Yes.
Tarzan used to be one of my favorite movies. I was in love with Jane.
Mm, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, Shigo from Kim Possible. Hot.
Yeah. Welcome back to the podcast. We took a slight break, but I wanted to get back to this conversation about the WNBA not being profitable because
They were working at a deficit or at a level threshold for the last few seasons.
yes. However, I would like to point some things out about the MNBA.
Honestly, I love calling it the W though.
Yes,
I
I
feel
do.
like I
feel
do
like the
refer
W and the NBA, like I think that should just be how we
correct.
refer
I
to
love
it.
the W. That is
Yes.
the women, and I love
Yes.
the women.
So let me set the scene. Love Casey Musgraves. The year is 1983.
That's before I was born.
It was many years before I was born. My parents were sophomores in high school. In 1983, the NBA had been around for over 30 years at that point. 1983, around for over 30 years. At that point, 1983, 7 out of 23 teams were making a net profit per year. If you're not a math head, I rounded 7 up to 8 and 23 up to 24. That's about a 33% amount of your teams that are actually generating you any money, which is a failure. The NBA is operating at a net loss per year of $15 to $20 million.
How long had the NBA been around by then?
Over 30 years.
Yeah, so we had 30 years of
negative $20 million per year. Okay, keep that fact in your back pocket. That was what year?
1983.
Okay, April 1983. NBA signs a 4-year CBA with the players, giving them 53%. Keep in mind, I just told you that they were at a net loss of about $20 million per year. Only 7 out of 23 teams were profitable, yet they were able to still give players over 50% of profits. So there's that. If you want to really sit down and get down to the nitty gritty of, well, they're not profitable. We can't pay them. We can't pay them more than 10% profits. Do you want to check your history books there, pal?
I also have to think of it like any sports league is a business. And you have to look at any business when it starts up, you're going to be operating in the negatives. You're going to be operating in loss. You have to hit a certain point of operational years in order to continue to make money. And I see your shoulders shimmying over there. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Do you know when the NBA became consistently profitable?
2000.
Early 90s. Do you want to
Ooh.
know? Do you want to know?
Michael Jordan, when he came around, he was a huge name.
There was such an outrage of the start of the WNBA that people went out and bought NBA tickets in order to
Out of
protest
spite.
out of spite. But the funny thing is the NBA has been subsidizing the WNBA since its creation until about like the early 2010s. So it's like you went out to buy the tickets in spite, but you were
actively putting money in.
correct. So I thought that that was a really funny fact. It brought me back to this is completely off topic, but I learned this in one of my college political science classes.
I'm here for it.
One of the main reasons that women got the right to vote in the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
Jesus. It was because
the senators who wanted to not have the bill pass put a clause in there to allow women to vote.
Because they thought that people wouldn't vote for it.
Because they thought that would make it not pass.
No, can I tell you how livid I was when I found that out? I literally had okay.
The fact that I learned that in college and it was an elective course.
I learned that a couple of years ago when I had to substitute teach for a 5th grade classroom. And I had to teach them about this. And I'm talking about women's suffrage and how it came about. And I am reading this. Why didn't I learn about this when I was in school?
When you were in school to become a teacher?
Idea. Correct. And so I'm out here and I'm reading this to the kids. And I'm like, what? And I'm looking around the room and the people are like, why why would they not want women to vote? And I'm like, yeah.
Women weren't allowed to have their own bank accounts or credit cards until the mid 70s.
But that is one of the craziest facts is they literally putting women on there to try to prevent a passing of a vote. I lost my shit. So I'm not gonna lie. I did hold it together, but I did lose my shit. And that's so funny that you bring that up.
Yeah, so it's giving the same energy. And when I saw that in the research, I said, huh. And then there's the final kind of numbers fact that I want to bring up because it's just such bullshit. And this is what's really being touted over on Red Pill Internet. The W talking heads are out here saying that if they agree to 20% profit sharing, not even 50, 20. The W, like the talking heads, are saying that they're going to lose $460 million over the next 6 years if they agree to these terms, which
That's
is just
crazy.
so factually incorrect. Okay. If you break down that estimation, that would mean that they are losing $77 million per year paying players, or roughly $5 million per team.
Is there a chance that they would be losing that much money? I highly doubt it. Are you kidding
No.
me? Absolutely not. The league has been continuing to grow. There's no way that they're suddenly going to be losing out on that.
If you continue with then like that's the whole thing, is like they're continuing with projections, which is exactly what the W did in order to form the numbers for the 2020 CBA. They're using the W's own method to be like, hey, we have this projected growth over the next however many years. You need to pay us, or at least put us on a graduated schedule in order to pay us what we're owed. And
Correct. And can I also say, none of these players are going to come to the table and throw out unreachable numbers. These people are fighting for their own salary, for essentially their own livelihood.
yes,
They are what is bringing in this income. If they don't believe in themselves, if they don't think that they are worth this, they are not going to be fighting for it. And the league is not going to go and spend this money and say, yeah, we trust in you. No, look at what is continuing to be done. I have watched more of the USA women's basketball team games than I have watched of the men's Olympic teams playing basketball ever. It is crazy to me.
but this last number, and I think this kind of helps like bring it kind of more to a tangible, understandable idea. There is only a three, and I do have to make a disclaimer. Again, we're talking about professional sports numbers. I'm saying they're only asking for $3 million as if that's like a normal chunk of change. It's not. But when we're talking in terms of professional sports, that's asswipe dollar amounts. Like this is chump change. What I was getting at though, what the union is asking the W for is only about $4 million more than what the W is already presenting to them. We're arguing over $4 million over the next 7 years. So that's what, $28 million? Where are we getting $77 million per year? Which is where the women are like, where is this money going and why aren't we getting it? I mean, you're talking about $50 million of missing money per year
Yeah,
that could be going to the players.
and I don't know what things look like. So, uh, as previous years, unless it is the finals, the women's basketball games do not get televised.
No.
They are televised if they are put on national television. It's on like Ion TV. You
Mm-hmm.
would get some of the bigger games where it was like
TNT.
rivalries. You would get maybe a TNT game. You would maybe get a game on ESPN. You're not getting these games out here every night that are covered like men's, where it is a nationally broadcasted television thing. You have to subscribe to YouTube TV.
On multiple channels, local
You have
channels and
to
the specialty sport channels.
correct. The way to watch any games for the W, as of last
Hoops.
year, was
You have to jump through
listening
hoops.
to it or watching it on. You would have to subscribe to a channel. It was $12.99 a month, and that's what you had to pay for. That was their way to be able to get paid. That's where they brought in money. They're not getting all of that money per month. Also, YouTube TV is getting a part of that money. So again, they're getting pieces of it. And so the only way you're going to start losing money is if you're going to start fighting for contracts with these specialty networks and these
Mm-hmm.
national networks, because unfortunately everything that has been being seen is the men's team. At some point the women's are going to hit a point where they're like, no, we deserve this national attention as well.
I mean, they're
And
literally moving NBA games in order
to watch these finals games and
yes.
everything like that. They actively shifted people's games around. And so as this continues, like yes, they are going to have to fight for a spot. That's where you're going to start to see more money go, as you have to make these deals and these contracts with these different stations and that sort of thing. Again, I don't know what this next year looks like. I don't know if their main way of being watched is going to be through kind of a different internet provider. You have to like link it through a
Mhm.
subscription, something like that. I really do. All I see is the W going up and it continuing to grow and the fans and everything like that just becoming stronger and stronger.
Not that this like really means that much anymore, because obviously Twitter was ruined by Elon Musk. But this CBA deal and like the next 10 things that were trending under it when I
Yeah,
was on Twitter after it was announced was all WNBA related. And it was like trending not just nationally, worldwide, because it'll say like trending worldwide. So like there is a spotlight on this about women's
100%.
sports in general. And I think I said it. It'll be in this or the new episode that I upload. Like, or maybe it was the first episode. I don't know. They're not doing this for themselves. I really don't think that they give a fuck about how much money they're bringing in at the end of the day because they all love the sport that much. But they know that it is so much bigger than them as an individual. It is the future
Correct.
of the sport. It is the future of the league. It is the future of women's sports in general.
And that I think also is why they have tried to build such a community around this, even within the league. When you have people being able to come together and play in an off season team where so many people come together to be able to play, that is
Mhm.
huge. Along with that, though, the way that these women will stand up for each other when it comes to media, the questions, all
Mhm.
of that, when it comes to
Even on
personal
opposing teams,
relationships.
they're like, "Why
Exactly.
the fuck are you up in my business? Why are we not talking about the game?"
Exactly, and so that's where when people try to pit them against each other, they will still come out and they will still come out and support these people, and that is where you see, I think especially, all of that that has been built with these women coming collectively together, and it
Mhm.
is a really cool thing to see.
We love women. All right. Should we briefly go over our brackets before we call it quits for the
Oh
evening?
my god, yes.
Okay. So Faith and I filled out brackets, and technically on
For
the
March Madness,
for
so
March
now we're
Madness,
shifting to college. I would like to start off with the men's bracket first so we
yeah,
can end on the women's. I am a little bit more serious when it comes to my brackets than Andie might be.
yes,
And so with that, I did choose, like, I make a dream bracket and I make a more realistic bracket where I do have to tell myself the Badgers are not going to win.
I make a vibes bracket.
Yes, you do. You do, Miss Holy Cross. With that being said, my dream bracket got busted the first day. The
Oh my god! Shout out
Badgers
Phineas for busted.
busted. Yes, Candace.
I can't
The
help myself. It's a disease. I have to sing the songs.
yeah, it's the ants in my pants, except it's the squirrels. In my dream bracket, I always have the Badgers winning.
Cool
The
bitch. Cool.
Badgers did in fact lose their first game to High Point,
It'd
and
be
they
so fun to
probably
go to a
lost
school named
it.
High Point.
Yes, I would want to go there. But I think that they lost it probably in the most embarrassing way possible. The
Classic.
person, and I don't know if you've heard me tell this story, but the person who made the game winning shot had not made a field goal, a 2 point field goal, the entire season, only made threes. The
Oh,
only time that this player made a 2 point field goal was against the Badgers for the winning shot. We lost by 1 point
mm.
because of it.
How does
So
someone play an entire season of basketball not making a 2 point shot?
well, in all reality, they did take primarily 3 point shots. I believe it was 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 7. They took only 5 or 7 shots from the 2 point range within the season.
All right.
And the one they decided to make was against the Badgers, and we are now out of March Madness.
Well,
So we ended.
classic Wisconsin sports.
Correct. We ended last podcast, or we're in the middle of last podcast with the Badgers losing in the Big Ten tournament to Michigan, and now we lost a High Point. So go us. So my dream bracket gone.
My dreams crushed.
Anyways, so my reality, and I guess my reality could also be skewed because in my experience of watching the Badgers lose to other teams, I'm not a fan of Duke, I'm not a fan of Michigan, and I'm not a fan of North Carolina. If I toss Kentucky and Kansas in there, I'm also not a fan of them. With that, that takes away a lot of number one contenders.
Yeah, I don't think I had
And
any of those ones proceeding past the first.
I didn't either. I purposely chose against them. I did pick Duke over Siena.
I did actually have Duke going to the Final Four.
Okay, well, there you go. But my Final Four, I ended it with UConn, Iowa, Purdue, and Iowa State. And I ended it with a UConn versus Iowa State national championship. I don't know if Iowa State's gonna get there. I did play it on a little bit of hopes and dreams also. I think it's always fun for it not to be a number one seed. However, I did go with UConn winning the whole thing for the men's basketball. What about you?
So my men's bracket was just built on hopes and vibes.
I honestly kind of want you to read through your entire bracket.
Okay.
In the sense where, yes, there is 64 teams and we're going to go down to a winner, but I would like you to be able to go through
And
the
tell you
people
the
who are
reasoning?
playing. No, no. I just want you to say the people that are playing, and then I want you to tell me who wins.
Okay. We have Duke versus TCU.
No, it started off with Duke versus Siena.
Yep. Duke versus Siena. Thank you. Yep. So I have Duke winning that, and then Ohio State versus TCU. I have TCU. So I have a Duke times TCU collab.
You know, that was pretty cool of you, though, because TCU did, in fact, beat Ohio State.
Oh my God. I literally am a prophet. We have St. John's beating Northern Iowa.
Guess who won?
St. John's.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like literally a genius. And I would like to preface this. I filled this out tonight, but men's basketball does not come across my feed. The only tip I had was the Badgers, and I chose them. I messed up my own bracket because I would have chosen them to go past the first round, but I know that they lost. But
that was because I told her.
But everyone
I was
else,
mad.
Everyone else, this is just my foresight, my foreskin.
Crazy.
We have then Louisville versus Michigan. Nope, fuck. Sorry, I keep going down the second row. The ones where I started writing.
Yeah,
I keep starting there. We have Louisville versus South Florida. I have Louisville winning.
That makes sense.
And then I have Michigan State winning over North Dakota State. I just Michigan's near us. So I chose Michigan.
We love a glove.
Yes. Our glove twin. I have UCLA winning over UCF.
Which accurate.
Yes.
Close game though.
Yeah. And then I have UConn winning over Furman, which I'm assuming they did. Or unless
they have not played. They are going to be playing. Actually, they're in the midst of playing right now. UConn is winning 26-21.
Slay. I have Florida winning over either of the other two options. If there was a double option on the chart, I just chose the one without the one.
It is actually the game we're watching right now. And that's so funny to me because we are watching Florida decimate Prairie View right now. And the score is 75-31. So I think you chose well.
My method stands true. And then
for the next one, I chose Iowa. And even though Shannon doesn't exactly like Iowa, I chose Iowa because she's from there.
I chose Clemson because I remembered that they were orange and they had a paw.
Nice.
So I was like, sure. Vanderbilt versus McNeese. I did choose Vanderbilt. However, I would like to give a shout out to Jesse because we had the same exact thought. I almost chose McNeese because it sounded like McGeese, and geese are fun. Geese are birds.
Geese are birds? That'd be crazy if you're like, geese? Are they birds?
Are they birds? Oh my God, is that a chicken?
Oh my God, is that acorn? Okay,
first of all, it literally looks like Akron. Akron. We'll get to that side of the chart. Troy winning over Nebraska. Only in the sense of High School Musical going, Troy! I have North Carolina winning over VCU. Penn winning over Illinois.
Hell yeah.
And St. Mary's winning over Texas A&M, which I'm pretty sure they did.
See, I chose Texas A&M over that one.
Well, you're wrong. Actually, I have no idea. And then I chose Houston over Idaho because H-Town coming down. Over on the West in the Midwest, yeehaw. I have Arizona winning over Long Island
Long Island.
and Villanova winning over Utah State.
Alright.
And then I had Wisconsin winning over High Point. Obviously, we know that was incorrect.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, though. Utah State beat Villanova. It was an upset.
That's crazy because I had Villanova going to the Final Four. And
Iowa also beat Clemson.
rough. I based all of this on my brief knowledge of about 10 years ago basketball, when my dad used to be really into college basketball and things I would overhear on the TV.
Iconic.
And there was a lot
Raising
of
10 years of history where the graduating class has surpassed at least 3 to 4 times. But I'm going to go back and use my knowledge.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, it's Shannon. Oh my god. I was so confused. Let's see. I had Arkansas winning over Hawaii. BYU beating Texas, mostly because Mormons. Fun.
Mormons.
And then Garbanzo Beans beating
When she says garbanzo beans, she does in fact mean Gonzaga.
I think it sounds the same. I had them winning over Kennesaw State. These are not real places.
It's a big word for Elmo.
That's a big word for Elmo. I had Missouri. Yeah.
Mizzou.
I had Missouri winning over Miami, Purdue winning over Queens, and then Howard over Michigan.
Which is crazy to me. You're picking a 16 seed over a 1 seed.
Those words mean nothing to me.
16 seed means it's the worst in that region.
I know what a seed means. I'm just saying I don't care about the seed. I was picking off of vibes. I had Georgia winning over St. Louis.
You chose Georgia over my cat.
Yeah, I did.
Fuck off, bitch.
I chose Akron over Texas Tech, and that is how you say it.
For those of you who are listening, no, it's not.
How else would you say Akron? Akron. That is phonetically correct, and I stand by that.
It's so wrong.
And then I had Alabama, as I chose to spell it, winning over Hofstra.
That did happen.
Well, look at me.
And they even lost one of their starters because he got found with 2.1 pounds of weed, I think. And he got removed from campus and kicked off the team in the same day.
Tennessee winning over whatever two options those were. I had Virginia winning over Wright. And I had Kentucky winning over Santa Clara because, yeah. And Iowa State I had winning because my best friend's father likes Iowa State.
And that makes sense. Now, run it through. Just give me your final four.
Well, my final four are Duke.
Yep.
St.
Did you have a heart around Duke?
Yes. I drew that when I was telling you guys about how my cousin's dead dog was named Duke and how he was a good dog. And so I was like, I would draw a heart.
That's crazy.
So we had Duke and St. Mary's, and I had St. Mary's winning over Duke.
Like, listen, I support a woman. But goddamn, St. Mary's would never be Duke.
That is exactly why I chose. I chose the saint that was Mary because women. And then I had Villanova versus Iowa State on the other side.
As Villanova has already lost.
Well, I had Villanova winning the whole thing. So that bracket's gone.
That's crazy. So I'm not going to go as in depth. I did for my real bracket. I did choose UConn to win the whole thing. We had very different takes.
Yes.
I used personal bias as well as factual statistics to make my decision. and she chose women. And honestly, I would have followed her choice before my own.
Period.
Moving on to the women's NCAA tournament bracket. Would you like to go
Women.
first?
Yeah. Do you want me to like go down the list again?
I would love for you to start with Holy Cross. Because that was a crazy choice.
I did cross it out.
As a non-practicing person, for you to choose that is crazy.
What is that? The 15 seed over the 2 seed?
Yeah.
I was going for an upset. So obviously, I have UConn going down the list. We don't need to get into the specifics. And that is because easy fun. And we
Okay, but can I also point out though, like AZ Fudd, Sarah Strong, everybody else on that team, amazing players.
period.
It's not because I live for Paige and AZ. It
But
is a little bit.
It is the majority of the reason for me
But
personally.
UConn is also my women's bracket winner. I'm just gonna toss that out there. I did choose UConn for both, but I would like I almost said Hannah, Andie,
Oh, thank you.
to go ahead and explain her reasoning or who she chose.
Well,
Because this was also off vibes.
I mean, I did choose UConn as well. Off of the specific vibes that I think gay people should win. I had Iowa State winning over Syracuse, and Maryland winning over Murray Street. Nope, that is
Murray State. Oh my
Murray
god.
State.
Murray Street is crazy.
But I have a funny story about Maryland.
Okay.
When I was in 5th grade in elementary school, we have this thing called Restaurant City because it's the year that we learn the 50 states and their capitals and are tested on it. And so we have this Restaurant City where everybody gets a state and you have to make a cardboard restaurant themed about the state. And then there's like a whole showcase in the cafeteria, and all the other grades get to walk around and look at Restaurant City. We're learning a lot about my education on this podcast. Anyways,
questionable at best.
Yes, my state was Maryland, and I did a drive-in diner as my theme. And
Did you ever watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives on Food Network?
You know I did.
Anyways, we don't need to go there, but it just popped in my head.
Does anyone want to take a guess as to what movie was circulating circa 2012, 2013 on my drive-in movie theater?
Twilight.
And you know what? My Polly Pocket car was parked at the movie theater with my Littlest Pet Shops in it. They were at the restaurant. It was called Annie's Drive-In for Annapolis.
Was this a real place?
No, it was made from my imagination because we had to do it for Restaurant City. Everyone had their own restaurants. I could probably find a photo of it. Anyways, Maryland wins over Murray State.
And that's because of that experience.
Yes. And I was like, you know what? That was a good experience. There was a nice checker themed parking lot. It was good.
Did you pick a checkered theme because like the Maryland team has checkered patterns?
No, I did it because I did a drive-in and I associate checkers with Grease and old people.
Okay. Okay.
Anyways,
I was gonna say their team was like yellow and black with checkers. I'm gonna pull up a little thing.
Yeah. I had Illinois winning over North Carolina.
How do you say that?
Illinois?
You pronounce the S?
No.
Illinois?
Illinois.
That's crazy. Anyways, go ahead. I'm just judging.
I have Notre Dame. I have them winning over Fairfield. Oh. Yeah,
That's it.
That's their flag?
Well, yeah. And then,
that's an ugly fucking flag.
All right. Don't insult the people of Maryland. I don't know if they chose that.
Yeah, I have Howard over Ohio State because Ohio's not a real fucking place. You can't convince me of that.
Ohio?
Yes.
Okay. That's where Akron is?
Well, that's also not a real thing. So, I chose Colorado over the second Illinois.
I chose Colorado also because Colorado is where I would choose to live.
I chose Colorado because of the one vine going, say Colorado, I'm a giraffe.
I don't know what you're talking about with
What? No, I have to pull it up.
that. I never had Vine.
Oh, I love Vine. Oh my god, MagCon, which sounds really bad considering we have MAGA now, but it was like Nash Greer and like Cameron. Oh god, it was so fun.
How
do you guys say Colorado?
Oh, yeah. I know that. I know that.
What the hell? That's not what I was expecting at all. Okay.
And then I have Vanderbilt winning over High Point. That is exactly what I was thinking. If no one heard Shannon, it was because the name Vander was in it and Lisa Vanderpump. We had South Carolina winning over over the two choices, and then we had USC winning over Clemson. Are South Carolina and USC the same state?
No. South Carolina is South Carolina, and USC is the University of Southern California.
There's another Michigan
The
here.
USC is the Trojans.
Like the condom?
Like the like the Trojans.
Michigan State winning over Colorado State. Okay. Why do we need so many states? Oklahoma over Idaho. And Washington over South Dakota.
Do you choose Washington because of Twilight?
Yes, but also I feel like I've heard about them. Aren't they like the Ducks or something?
It's the Oregon Ducks. The Washington Ducks. Oh my god. She thinks it's the Washington Ducks. It's the Oregon Ducks.
It was on a bird theme. I chose San Diego over TCU because my uncle lives in San Diego. And Georgia over Virginia or Arizona State. Don't know who that ended up being, but I chose Georgia.
Okay.
And Iowa over FDU, which makes me think of FDT, which also fuck Donald Trump. Over on the other side, I was going to say a direction, but I was like, Sacramento and Fort Worth, they're not in the same direction.
Well, USC and South Carolina are the same thing, so.
Well, that's why I was so confused. I was like, are they just like two sectors of the same school?
No.
Anyways,
No.
I had UCLA winning over the Baptists. And
honestly, that's fair. Speaking as a former and reformed Baptist.
Princeton women winning.
We are hitting a point where words are hard.
Princeton over Oklahoma. No reason. We got Ole Miss winning over Gungazorla.
Oh my god, keep going.
And Minnesota winning over the Green Bay Packers. Nope.
That's not who they are at all. Okay. Jordan Love did go visit the women's Green Bay team, though, to send them off.
Slay.
I did. I know that they're probably going to lose. I am rooting for them, but I did move Green Bay along in the tournament.
Oh, that's bold.
It is, but it can happen.
Yeah. I had Baylor winning over Nebraska or Richmond. And then I had Duke winning over Charleston simply because Charleston makes me think of Southern Charm. And
fuck Southern Charm.
Fuck Southern Charm. Texas won over Villanova in my brain because this ain't Texas. And LSU won over Jacksonville.
Could it be because Texas is the number one team?
Oh. Oh, no. That was number 7 Texas up there. Sorry, Texas Tech. My bad.
Okay, yep, that's really different.
Yep. So we had them winning over Villanova, but down here we also have the Zion Texas, number 1 seed, winning over Missouri State or SF Austin.
Yep.
And then Oregon winning over Virginia Tech.
And what is the mascot of Oregon?
The loon.
The duck?
The duck. I
Oh god, this is where we hit it.
I have James Madison winning over Kentucky solely because of Hamilton the musical. James Madison wrote 29.
Oh my god.
Hamilton wrote the other 51. Anyways, I have West Virginia winning over Miami, Ohio, which I don't know why that was in parentheses. That's fucking stupid as hell.
Because that's where there's Miami University.
In Ohio?
No, Miami in Florida, but it's Miami and it's like the U. So it goes by Miami, but that's Miami, Ohio.
Dumb. I have Alabama winning over Rhode Island and Vermont winning over Louisville. I mean, Bama because Formation by Beyonce, but Vermont was just a choice. North Carolina State over Tennessee. I initially had Holy Cross winning over Michigan, our 15 seed over 2.
Yeah.
Because to name yourself the Holy Cross, I feel
You're
like
bold.
that's a bold move. Maybe you're coming in for the upset. Faith did make quite a reaction about it, so I did in fact cross out the Holy Cross and write Michigan. But don't worry, they eventually lose to Bama, so it's fine. My final 4 were UConn, LSU, Bama, and Washington.
Yep.
And UConn winning overall. Final 2 would be UConn versus Bama. My daddy, Alabama. My mom, Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And who comes out on top?
UConn!
Amazing.
Yeah. So those were my brackets. I highly suggest filling them out on Vibes.
Or jersey colors. Or mascots.
Well, see, here's the thing: is if we would have done this pre the game starting, I would have solely done it on mascots and colors, but I didn't want to look them up.
Yeah, no, that's
spoil
fair.
myself.
You would have gotten every single score.
Yeah, and been unfair to the bracket, the sanctity of the bracket.
Yes.
Which
so
was
Vibes,
already corrupted.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was disappointed in the Badgers.
You know, it's fine. It was the men's bracket. I don't give a fuck. Wow. We said short little podcast.
We did. But I think it was a good time to be able to send out the updates. And I'm very excited for the season. Literally after the tournament here is done, it'll go into the draft, and then it goes into preseason. And the people that are coming out of senior year or who are going into the women's draft are going to go straight into the next W season.
We love.
So I'm excited to see what comes from it, and
we will talk.
Yeah.
On that note, take care of yourselves, and we will talk to you.
Drink some water, eat some food, and take a shot if you're feeling it.
Yep. Okay. Goodbye.